Before we begin, I present this to you with honor and humbly request that if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do so. And if you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, share, and comment to let us know what you think. Now, let's move on to the story. I had been sitting on a branch at this position for nearly 12 hours. I could only move my limbs just enough to prevent stiffness. More movement wasn't an option, but this was not too difficult for me. Nothing that could shake me from my duty. During training, I had spent 3,636 hours practicing how to stay in such tough positions. In one case, I had even endured 48 continuous hours. Still, there's no doubt, training and real combat are worlds apart. Planning allows for corrections. In reality, one mistake can cost you your life. Especially for a sniper, there is no room for error. Our seniors used to say, **A sniper has only one bullet. If that bullet fails to hit its target, a painful death awaits.'' My favorite instructor, Rahul sir, had a more intense philosophy. **A sniper has 2 bullets, one for the target, and one for himself because falling into enemy hands alive is worse than death. If the bullet hits the mark, panic and chaos spread so quickly that nobody notices the sniper. The target is always a high-value individual, but once you have a family, even saying that becomes difficult because sometimes your own conscience holds you back. One of our teammates once missed a shot but still managed to survive, not by luck alone, but thanks to his unwavering intent, top-tier training, and world-class marksmanship. The actual target survived by chance, but 89 of his comrades were hunted down one by one by our team later. That shook the enemy so badly that instead of trying to find the sniper, they ran for their lives, searching for safety. By the time they returned, our man was long gone. In truth, a sniper needs not just mastery, but also vigilance, agility, and precision in judgment. When choosing a hiding spot, one must also keep an escape plan in mind and always watch over teammates. In any critical situation, you must be able to escape to survive. At that moment, I had in my hands a first-tier SSG-16 sniper rifle, also known as the Star Sniper Rifle. Its sound and accuracy are top-notch, though it's not as famous as others. It can easily hit a target up to 800 meters away. The magazine holds 5 bullets, but after each shot, it must be reloaded, a mechanism called bolt action. The spot I had chosen gave me a clear 700-meter view of the target. The responsibility was now on me at most. After my mentor was injured, he advised that the mission be aborted and I returned. But on my insistence, he reluctantly allowed me to proceed, giving me a firm handshake and a silent prayer. He spent 2 hours explaining everything to me, and strangely, I remembered his advice more clearly than all my formal training. Moving closer to the target, I reached a spot where nature itself had created a cluster of 12 stones, forming a natural speed breaker on the road used by enemy vehicles. I had planted an IED improvised explosive device under 2 of those rocks, well hidden, with the intent to detonate it after taking out Yadav to delay or disrupt Brigadier Prakash's convoy and prevent a quick escape. Though hitting the IED after the sniper shot would be tough, it wasn't impossible. That's the hallmark of a real sniper, complete trust in their own aim. The day of July 28th had passed. The brigadier was expected the next day. After extensive planning and surveillance, I had constructed a makeshift perch on an acacia tree. Choosing the left side had strategic advantages. Brigadier Prakash was known to sit in the front left seat of the vehicle, which made it the perfect angle for a clear shot. Also, this side offered me the best route for escape. I double-checked the planted eye and returned to my perch, tying myself securely with rope to avoid accidentally falling while asleep. Despite exhaustion, I couldn't sleep well that night. I kept waking up, alert and tense. At one point I was startled by what sounded like a whistle, but then smiled when I recognized the noise. It was made by a large local rat species called Prashna, which is bigger than a cat and known for producing a sharp, whistle-like call at dawn. I climbed back up the tree and observed the area. I knew the enemy wouldn't arrive before the afternoon because expecting an officer of Brigadier Prakash's rank to wake up early seemed laughable. He'd fly by helicopter to HQ and only later move by road to the front lines. Still, caution was critical as the sun rose. I observed the surroundings through my binoculars. After a while, a jeep appeared. I watched closely. 2 men were in the front, but they didn't resemble the brigadier. As they came closer, I could see their ranks. One was a driver, and the other was likely a bank employee. They were probably conducting a route check before the brigadier's arrival. My tension eased. They drove past slowly, and I knew the real action was still to come. I rechecked my camouflage, held my rifle, and adjusted my sniper scope. Inside the sight, I saw 3 main reticle lines, 2 vertical, and 1 diagonal. If the lower diagonal line rose to meet the upper reticles, a cross would form, helping me align the target perfectly. An hour later, 3 more vehicles appeared. At the turn, 2 open-top Jeeps and 1 Toyota with a covered roof. They moved steadily over the rough terrain. As the Toyota approached, I noticed its windows were tinted black, a major problem. I couldn't see inside. My heartbeat rose. With such visibility blocked, shooting accurately was nearly impossible. One option was to target the Jeep head-on, but, in that case, I risked hitting the wrong person or missing altogether. My sniper rifle could hit targets up to 800 meters away with precision. Beyond that, accuracy became uncertain. I didn't know who decided to use tinted windows, but it was a serious challenge. For the first time, I feared the mission might fail. I had less than 2 or 3 minutes to decide. Brigadier was about to take a different route on his return. This was my only chance. The location was kilometers away. It was impossible for me to reach there before Brigadier Prakash. Even if I had pushed myself to my absolute speed limits and somehow made it there, I still wouldn't have had the time to hide properly, assess the enemy's position, make a plan, and execute it with precision. In his final words, Ustad Siddiqa had said, "For a sniper, returning alive after failing a mission is still considered half a success." I couldn't afford to act impulsively. Just to prove myself successful today. The distance between the vehicles and me was shrinking with every passing second. The rifle's barrel had been covered with a suppressor, so the only sound it made while firing was a soft puff, barely traveling a few yards from my position. Then came the critical moment. As the lead vehicle moved past me, the Brigadier's Jeep was about 20 to 25 feet behind it. In a split second, I made my decision, took a deep breath, and pulled the trigger. With a muffled thwack asterisk, the suppressed bullet tore through the air and hit the rear tire of the front Jeep with a loud explosion. The Jeep swerved slightly and came to a halt. Armed Indian soldiers jumped down from the vehicles and quickly surrounded the area, glancing around briefly before focusing on the burst tire. All 3 Jeeps stopped. Even the soldiers in the last Jeep jumped out and took defensive positions behind nearby rocks and cover. During this time, I had already pulled the cocking lever and reloaded my rifle, making sure the empty shell didn't fall to the rocky ground where it could create a noise. The driver of the next Jeep stepped out and began checking the spare tire. That's when my prayers were answered, and my strategy showed signs of success. Brigadier Prakash lowered his window and leaned his head out, perhaps to give orders or just to take a look. I didn't care about his intent. The moment his head came into my sights, my finger moved in a single, smooth motion, and I pulled the trigger completely. The bullet met his head so powerful that it blew off nearly half of it, leaving no chance for survival. The driver screamed loudly and threw open the Jeep door, jumping out. The rest also turned their attention in that direction. I quickly shifted my rifle toward the IED location and fired a third shot. A deafening explosion followed. Suddenly, all the armed personnel opened fire, and the area echoed with rapid gunfire. But none of them knew my hiding place yet, so their bullets were flying blindly in all directions. 2 officers emerged from the last Jeep and shouted at their men to stop firing indiscriminately. These 2 were the senior-most officers after Brigadier Prakash. My mentor Sebita Rudroper used to say, if you want to disable an enemy unit, eliminate their commander. Once he's gone, their coordination falls apart. His words echoed in my mind as I took aim at one of the officers from the Toyota Jeep and fired. Heat dropped instantly. The second officer froze for a moment in shock. Seizing the moment, I used the last bullet in my rifle's magazine to shoot him too. He collapsed near the first and began to writhe like a fish out of water. From my vantage point, I could now see about 8 surviving enemies. One of them was making his way toward the area where I was hidden. Assessing the danger, I decided he had to go next, and in the next moment, he too was down like a sacrificial rooster. Ideally, I should have retreated after killing Brigadier Prakash, but seeing the enemy's reduced strength and how effectively my shots were landing, my courage swelled. As my mentor used to say, a silent sniper round in the dark is like an arrow. It might pass unseen but can pierce right through your neck. An invisible enemy is far more dangerous than one you can see. My next shot claimed another life. One man shouted, "Run, we're surrounded." He reversed the Jeep, but could only back up a few feet before my bullet forced him to slump onto the steering wheel. The rest abandoned the vehicles and ran in all directions. My body, drained from firing, now felt light, yet the adrenaline was pumping. They were fleeing toward the turn, terrified and disoriented by the sight of their comrades, falling one by one. Their ability to think had vanished. My morale, however, had soared. Once they were out of range, I climbed down from my position, used the trees for cover, and began making my way back. So friends, that was the first episode of our new series. We hope you enjoyed the video. Before you go, please like, share, and comment to tell us what you thought. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, do subscribe so you get all our videos on time. We'll meet again in the next episode of this story. Until then, take care. Allah Hafiz.